CDC order. Roll call, Maria.
Okay, Sherry Boyer,
Present.
Madeline Fleury,
Here.
Archie McKee is absent, Daniel Mills,
Present.
Nate Manette.
Here.
Also present, Jeremy Evans, Maria Bourgeois, and Paul Ellis.
Thank you, Maria. Public comment, any public comment? If not, approval of the previous meeting minutes. I don't even know if I can remember, March 15th.
Short minutes.
It was the audit meeting.
Yeah,
March.
they're here. It's been so long, Maria, I can't remember.
I'll move to accept them like I moved west.
Yeah,
So,
okay, I read it, but
I'll second it.
Stephen Nate, got it.
motion by who?
Stephen Nate.
Steve. Okay, second by Nate. Any discussion? The motion has been moved. All those in favor of accepting the minutes of the previous meeting of March 15, 2023, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Committee reports. We have two committees listed, governance and audit and finance. Let's go to governance and
I have nothing to
Okay.
report.
audit and finance. Did audit and finance look at this request, Jeremy, to begin with?
This, no,
Okay. I guess it's outside of the regular business of that committee, so. Financial report, Paul?
right now, I mean, I think we have,
$3.
we're going to have like $460 and the rest is in a T-bill. We only write 2 checks a year out of this account. One for E&O insurance for $250, and then for our auditors, $750 a year. The goal was to lower these expenses, which we've done already this past year, to help slow the burn rate of cash. But with the item that's on the agenda today in regards to the bond reissuance, that will mean an inflow of cash into our checking account.
Thanks, Paul. Just for Dan's benefit, could you, Jeremy, explain the CDC?
Civic Development Corporation was created, when was it created, Maria?
I want to say 2010.
2010. And its sole purpose is to be able to issue tax-exempt bonds that nonprofits can use to do capital, basically borrow money to do capital improvements at a reduced interest rate. Since the bonds are tax exempt, a bank that issues a loan using those bonds can then provide a lower interest rate to the borrower. And it came out of there was a change in state law. IDAs used to do this all the time. There was this change in state law that made it so IDAs couldn't do it for certain projects. And so, but Civic Development Corporation can do it. So the IDA created it back in 2010. And there hasn't been a lot of activity over the last several years. I think the last one was in 2016 with Adirondack Health. And that's the one project on the agenda today.
And the other thing is, if you're gonna build a new football stadium in Buffalo, New York, that also qualifies.
Good to know.
Lots of bills there. No pun intended. We'll go on to, financial report. We need to get a motion to accept it.
Thank you. I was getting ready to say it.
Oh, you always tease me. That was the pitchfork.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Madeline to accept the financial report. Second? Second? Steve?
Yep.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed, nay? Very good. We'll go on to old business. That's the subject of the meeting, I suspect, or no?
It's under new business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any old business? There being none, we'll move on to new business. Resolution 2023-04, authorizing resolution for bond reissuance. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Basically, it's, what are we doing? Are they reissuing the bonds for what reason, Jeremy? Or they want to?
I think what what triggered this was there's this index that is used to determine interest rates on these types of on these bonds.
Uh-huh.
That's being phased out, and there's a new index that's being used, and that fact triggered the requirement for the bonds to be reissued. I think there's some other things, as that came about, there's some other things that are happening with Adirondack Health, which all of that together has triggered the need to redo paperwork. And for me to really go into it more than that, I can't. That's
what it's for.
all of those different elements are written of the resolution. This became more complicated than originally intended by us or Adirondack Health, but that's, as the attorneys in both our attorney and their attorneys have kind of gone through all this, they've recognized all these things that they need to clean up, and they're doing it all at the same time with this reissuance. So we're not issuing additional bonds or anything. It's kind of a refund.
Isn't it essentially just refinancing, basically?
Yep.
Is there any financial impact on us for doing this?
We are only that this requires them to pay a fee.
So it's a
And
positive-
that's what Paul was
It's a
referring
positive
to.
impact, it's
Yes.
not taking anything away from
Yeah.
us.
Well, it may not be as positive as you think. I mean, if we ever lost that nursing home in Tucker Lake, that'd be an awful blow.
I don't mean positive that way, I meant positive in terms of
Right.
The transaction.
Yeah,
transactions.
oh yeah,
So
no, I know what you're saying, but I do think
Well,
it's
understood.
necessary for us to realize that sometimes we take actions that basically impact human beings' lives. And this is one of them.
Yep.
And it's sad.
will we have anything if we don't do this, what's the impact of that, going to Jim's point?
Well, I don't know exactly what the impact would be, but I'll say this. They reached out to us many, many months ago, knowing that the deadline for this, having to go to this new index, was coming July 1st. So it's all these other things that have come up during that review that delayed this resolution coming to you. But the reason it's here is it has to be done this month because of that. The new index goes into effect July 1st. But I'll just say it wasn't because of a delay on their part. They reached out many months ago and they've been working on it ever since.
When anybody does a refinancing, it's usually putting them in a much better financial position. And, certainly something like this can, along with other factors that Adirondack Health might be working on, can only strengthen the organization and make it more survivable. Now, it doesn't mean the hospital is going to close, but it might mean that they discontinue providing certain services in certain locations and different things like that. So I think, to Jen's point, yes, the nursing home, is a concern, but if they aren't in a good operating position, we've already seen headlines in the paper about them scaling back services in Lake Placid, and that's right across the street from the Olympic Training Center, and it's the hub, for sports medicine. So I think, this move probably just strengthens their financial position.
Okay, thanks.
Very good. Thank you. So to get the resolution on the floor, we'll accept a motion to adopt resolution 2023-04, authorizing the resolution for bond reissuance. Could I have a motion to that effect, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Nate, second. Second by Dan. Further discussion? Any questions of Jeremy? There being none, we will ask Maria to please call the roll.
Okay, 2023-04, Sherry Boye,
Yes.
James Ellis,
Reluctantly, yes.
Stephen Erman,
Yes.
Madeline Fleury,
Yes.
Archie McKee is absent, Daniel Mills,
Yes.
Annette.
Yes.
Resolution duly adopted.
Thank you, Maria. Is there any need for executive session? If not, we'll then move on to public comment. Any public comment? There being none, we'll move to adjournment.
Can I
The
ask-
next meeting to be determined.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Related to what we just
Yeah.
did? What is the latest on the potential closure or sale of the nursing home over in Tupper?
Well,
Has that been publicly announced that
if you're on the
that's,
Tupper Lake Coconut Wireless, everybody's known about it for about a year. So,
okay.
you know,
So they're gonna look for a
I would
private
imagine
buyer?
Elderwood would be a potential
I
suitor.
said,
I didn't know they were looking to sell, but it would make sense that Elder would be.
well, the thing is that what's weird about this is that if you want to get a better or a different rate of reimbursement, especially from, if you like your policy, keep your policy. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor.
Private.
You have to sell it in order to be able to say, okay, now's the time for us to rejiggle the financial factor and request further higher reimbursement. That's part of the deal.
I
It's a
remember when they
secret.
were both purchased back, must have been.
Yeah,
10,
and the same
15
thing,
years
by the
ago.
way, with Don Smith. Don Smith's has been sold at least 40 times. No, I'm exaggerating. Don Smith Apartments for the senior living has been sold at least 3 times in my memory. And each time they do it, they get, they get a different rate of reimbursement.
So it's not a question of people in Tupper Lake, some little interruption perhaps, but not that people in Tupper Lake may get hurt by the closure of the facility. It's just a question of a new operator coming in potentially, or things being.
But while they're at it, at the place that's gonna be purchased, they begin cutting like hell before they begin. And already I've seen, a lot of cuts taking place in the nursing home. Sunday I went over to visit people my age, and I had a heck of a time getting in. They don't have anybody on the front desk anymore.
So there may be some cuts before they
Yeah.
sell in order to trim their
And then
costs. and
when you get the
somebody else
new
option.
reimbursement, you're actually doing a lot more. You're getting reimbursement refigured usually up, and by the same token, what you save by cutting a fee. So,
Interesting.
But I will say this. We have no idea, because it very well could be that they can't it's hard time getting nurses and caregivers.
Anyway.
oh, everybody's having that experience for sure,
It
yes.
could be,
You're right.
so I wouldn't want to jump at any conclusions, because
I know,
every facility is having a hard time finding health
I know.
professionals.
I have a friend that works at Elderwood in Lake Placid. She's one of 2 local people working. I mean, they might have added, but this is about 3 months ago. Everybody else was visiting nurse.
Wow.
Because
Same
they
thing.
cannot get people local to take.
And before too long, you won't be able to talk to a doctor. You'll be dealing with PAs. Just for the same reason.
Right. Okay, well, thanks for
Okay.
taking the question.
Motion to adjourn, with the next meeting being July 12th. Do we have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Madeline, second by
No
Steve.
second needed. Quick study.
You pick up quick.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.